हाओ मा नाजरीन, जिसका मतलब चाइनीज़ के अंदर है कि आपका क्या हाल है। आप समझ ही गए होंगे कि इस वक्त मैं चाइनीज़ एम्बेसी में मौजूद हूँ और यहाँ पे हम इंटरव्यू करने आए हैं पाकिस्तान में चाइनीज़ एम्बेसडर योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग का। नाजरीन, चाइना ने जो एक रोड एंड बेल्ट इनिशिएटिव है उसको शुरू किया है जो $1 ट्रिलियन से भी ज़्यादा है। उसका एक छोटा सा कंपोनेंट सीपैक है। इसके ऊपर बहुत सारा अभाम है पाकिस्तान के अंदर और इसको क्लियर करने के लिए आज हमने ये इंटरव्यू किया है और हम चाइनीज़ एम्बेसडर योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग से ये भी पूछेंगे कि दहशतगर्दी के हवाले से चाइना के क्या तहफ़्फ़ुज़ात हैं। बहुत कुछ पूछना है हमने चाइनीज़ एम्बेसडर से, इसलिए चूँकि वो सबसे भारी इन्वेस्टमेंट पाकिस्तान में करने आ रहे हैं। तो आइए आपको मिलवाते हैं योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग से। योर एक्सेलेंसी नी हाओ मा।
Thank you.
आपका क्या हाल है?
This is a little difficult for me to understand. Assalamu alaikum.
What do you most enjoy about Pakistan? Now you've been here for a year and a half.
Yes, in fact, this is not my first posting. Previously, I was twice posted in Pakistan. Totally, I have already spent almost 10 years in Pakistan. What I enjoyed most for the past 10 years, first, is the hospitality of the Pakistani people. Second, the friendship from the Pakistani government and the Pakistani people. Thirdly, I enjoyed a lot with my posting here and my association with Pakistan because my diplomatic career has been closely connected with Pakistan.
Your Excellency, one of the things that we are very concerned about and are looking at very carefully are the CPEC projects, I'm sure you know. But the trade balance annually between Pakistan and China is $15 billion and 13 billion is just exports from China. So it's heavily tilting to the disadvantage of Pakistan.
Yes.
When will this change? Do you expect it to change anytime soon?
Yeah, first of all, I think we share the same concern about the imbalance in the bilateral trade between China and Pakistan. And this is not a kind of surplus we want to see. We don't want to earn money from Pakistan. In fact, we want to effective and balanced trade with Pakistan. In fact, we have shared 95% of our market with your products. So we will open and give the tax-free import from Pakistan on some main products, for example, chemical products, seafood, agricultural products, and some meat. So I hope that with this kind of facilitation from our two governments, that the trade will reach a certain kind of balanced status.
What balance are you expecting after you have given Pakistan those tax breaks?
I don't think that it is a total balance, that half a half, or even we have a kind of a deficit in our trade with Pakistan, because our economy has the different sizes and our advantages are different. But basically, I think that we want to at least 3 or 4 times of import of the current volume from Pakistan. This is our purpose for the next fiscal year.
You know, we hear the word CPEC a lot. I know it is part of your Road and Belt initiative. But we know very little about what is happening with CPEC projects. There is very little transparency in that. And because there is very little transparency, there is a perception in Pakistan, a wide perception, that these projects are going to be overly expensive and they are going to stress the Pakistani economy. When will we finally start seeing Chinese companies come to Pakistan?
First of all, I think say that I have to make several clarifications. First, regarding the transparency. I think that all the documents, all the agreements, and all the project details are available in either your Ministry of Planning's website. I still remember when I was in Kabul 2 years ago. At that time, I was told to be posted in Pakistan. I didn't have any access to the CPEC projects, but I tried to trace them by myself through the website, through the online resources. I found at least 90% of the details. So basically that if CPEC has the attention of the local people, please that show your real interest and do some research. I think CPEC is transparent enough, and all the details are available now through the public resources. Second, that regarding the cost or the expensiveness of this project, but I would like to say that all these kind of projects, their cost and their price have been decided by the mutual consultation between the Chinese and the Pakistani government. It was supervised by expert groups and the different working groups. However, that if you say that if you take the current today's standard to reassess the price of 5 years ago's project, then you can see because of the advancement of the technology and the lowering of the cost, then some projects are still, you may say, the differences of the prices. But I think that this kind of investment, I can't say that because all the projects are decided based on the, at that time, the economic models and the economic situations.
Your Excellency, pardon me, I'm disturbing you. However, the perception is that at the moment the Chinese are getting the tax breaks that locals are not getting. Now you said that you can find something on the internet. Now I have been searching all night on the internet because I had to come and interview you. But there is very little details of exactly what those terms are. Now that is obviously not your fault, that is the fault of our government. Our government does not actually divulge the full details, and that is something that the opposition has also taken up in the parliament, which I'm sure you're aware of. Now the question that I'm asking is that the loan that the Chinese have given, does that stand about $19 billion in project financing, of which $7 billion is from Chinese commercial banks and $4.2 billion are parked in the reserves? Is that what we are looking at?
I don't think that this is the correct figures, and I think that there are a little confusion about these loans. For example, as far as my understanding goes, that this kind of loans, basically they are commercial loans from Chinese company. For example, some of our power plants. You know, these loans is borrowed by the Chinese company, and they use these loans to establish their power plant in Pakistan, and they sell their electricity to your government state grid. And it is supposed that the electricity tariff be used to pay back these loans. So these loans, in fact, is not on your balance sheet. It is on the balance sheet of the Chinese company. For example, 3 power plants, totally $6 billion. They are the debts not by you, they are debts by the Chinese companies. So you means these loans basically is the preferential loans or concession loans for some infrastructure, for example, for the motorway from Peshawar to Kabul, or no, for Peshawar to Karachi, and also the KKH, because they are not commercially viable projects. So this kind of project, totally I calculated, is another about $6 billion for this project.
And these are loans, not
These are loans and concessional loans, and these concessional loans are on your balance sheet.
On 2.6% interest rate?
Around the 2.3 or 2.5 or 1.9, they are different.
All right. I get your point. Now, you know, last year in July 2018, the Competition Commission of Pakistan urged the National Highway Authority, the Pakistan Engineering Council, and the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, and they said that Chinese firms in road and reconstruction are receiving various exemptions, such as import duties, tax exemptions, and the local contractors are not receiving that. So there seems to be an unfair treatment meted out to locals as compared to the Chinese, which is something of concern to Pakistanis.
Okay, then I think this is, in fact, we don't give exceptional concessions. All of these kind of concessions are under your regulations. If you check, you have these kind of regulations on attracting the foreign loans. Second, these loans are concessional loans, and definitely it is an international practice that to have, for example, for the building of the machineries, because these loans are so low in interest, then you cannot sustain it without a certain concessional policies. And this is an international standard practice for all. I think that this kind of regulatory of this organization, I think later on they have changed their assessment.
They have changed their assessment.
And they have, of course, this, for example, that for all the other projects between Pakistan and the World Bank, ADB, when you are using the concessional loans, they have the same. They have the same concessions. So I should say that under CPEC we didn't get, I should say, exceptional policies. Basically, we are trying to...
You didn't get special treatment, is what you said?
No treatment at all. Yeah, but the special treatment is that the Chinese government give us special attention for the development of Pakistan's economy.
Yes.
We are willing and going to get this kind of, give this kind of support for your economy.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. We really appreciate your presence here. We're very thankful for it. And we're all eager to see Chinese company, more and more Chinese companies come to Pakistan and invest. How come we have not seen that as of yet? Because, you know, in Pakistan, the unemployment levels are growing and people want employment. So they're looking towards the Chinese companies to employ them.
Yes, in fact, this is exactly what I want to see. More and more investment, more and more manufacturing and joint ventures to Pakistan. But I think that, for example, your government, Mr. Imran Khan, has this ease of doing business and trying to give more incentives and attractions for foreign investment. But this kind of policy is still in the original, in the very beginning shape. And we believe that the direction is good. However, the policy implementations should be improved. Although that we have a direction, but we don't have a convincing policies which I can really use that to sell them to the Chinese investment.
So what kind of convincing policies are you looking for from Pakistan in order to attract Chinese companies to Pakistani markets?
Indications have come, and for example, after almost 1 year's discussions, the first special economic zone, SEZ, in Rashka in KP province will be established. And through the discussion with your government, we have a special package of incentives for the Chinese investment and other foreign investment in such. Second, for example, your government, your BOI, your Ministry of Commerce and Investment have been giving a little, I should say, prompt and effective measures to encourage some of the joint ventures in, for example, in Lahore and in Faisalabad. So I think that this is a good beginning, and this kind of more and more Chinese investment and joint ventures.
What is lacking? What can we do more to attract investment?
That is that, for example, I give several of kind of my impression. First is that your federal government and the provincial government, I think that you need a single market system. If I go to Lahore or I go to Peshawar, we should have the similar incentives and similar policies.
So at the moment it's not all levels. So each province has its own...
Exactly, each province and each localities that we have to deal with the different policies. Second is, I think, a streamlined policies for the attraction of attracting of the foreign investment. For example, that right now you have so many ministries and so many agencies who are dealing with taxation, land acquirement, and all the utilities acquirement. So that in Faisalabad you have this M3 SEZ, and you have already started a one-window service. If this kind of facilities could be promoted in other areas, I think that it will be very, very facilitating this investment and projects.
All right. Well, one other thing that I wanted to ask you is the ML1 railway. Now, there was certain controversy surrounding that. This railway is around $8 billion from what we know. But the PTI-led government has said originally, they said it first, that it is not really feasible, that what you're going to do is that you're going to make a lot of bridges on the way, and that way you will close a lot of roads in Punjab. So, and the amount of passengers that you will carry are the same amount of passengers that we were carrying in the 1980s. So what is China's stance on this ML1 railway?
ML1, they will make the mainline ML1 railway project. I think this project hasn't been started, but a lot of controversies started. I think this is unfortunate. First, this is a project still under the negotiation between two countries, between the two railway ministries. We have never finalized any kind of financial model or the technical package yet. Right now, we have reached the first package of. So previously, for example, if you want to take the whole railway from Karachi to Peshawar to upgrade it, both cargo and passengers, it might take $8 billion. But it is a very rough estimation. It has never been scientifically assessed and this.
And this is a direct loan that we are negotiating, just so that our viewers understand.
We have never touched the financial package yet.
So you haven't even gotten to that point?
Even not, I have reached right now only talking about technical package, that for example, how much speed should we trying to achieve? What is the cargo volume we should want to achieve? What kind of routes we should, which parts should be taken up first? All these things, it's been this. So there were a lot of expectation and also a lot of, I should say, different information about it. So right now we have never touched the financial model yet. For example, there are different talks like the PPP model or that the ECP model, also so forth. But right now, I think during last visit by Prime Minister, both the technical teams have finalized the first stage of the technical package. That is, we are going to pick up 3 parts on this line to start. But this is only technical feasibility.
So this is still an ongoing negotiation.
Still.
Your Excellency, your country, China and America, are in the midst of an ongoing trade battle. Now, there is a concern that there will be reprisals, economic reprisal for allies of China, like Pakistan. Should we be concerned as Pakistanis?
I think not only, we have no alliance. Pakistan is an economic partner. I think it's not should be the concerns are legitimate. Not only for Pakistan or all the countries. The concern should come from the whole international community. China and the US is the #1 economy. China is the 2nd largest economy. When these leading two economies are engaged a kind of trade, we call trade war or fight, whatever, it is definitely not good for the global economy. And more significantly, that this initiation of this kind of trade war is from the United States. And if we look at the United States, they are advocating of this globalism. They are advocating for this fair play. They are advocating for this free trade for almost 7 decades since the Second World War. But right now, they are using this, I should say, unilateral and also tariff barriers, trying to streamline or trying to force China, on China some kind of, I should say, unreasonable requirements.
And they've also banned Hawaii, I believe, on Google and Android. They are no longer, the services will no longer be available on Hawaii products. And that's a big market for Pakistan, because a lot of people over here use Hawaii products, and they're concerned that they will not be able to use Google and Android over their phones. Should they really be concerned?
Of course, I think that this is another example that the United States doesn't allow any kind of competition as far as technology or other areas are concerned from other countries or other identities. Huawei is just a common or ordinary company in China, but they are leading in some kind of technology in the information state. So the United States, unfortunately, using this kind of state power to trying to crash their development. And this, of course, the Chinese government is against these kind of things. But we hope that the companies in Americans, these business identities in America, they should have the sense and have the reason that to have a kind of trade or cooperation based on the establish the rules and establish the regimes. But unfortunately, the United States is using extraordinary state power to trying to contain the development. But for China, I think that we will manage it. I heard the Huawei company, they are developing their own systems, and also they will use their technology to overcome this kind of technology difficulties to give a good service for all the customers.
Excellency, allow me to take a break over here. नाज़रीन, इधर लेते हैं छोटा सा वक्फा. वक्फे के बाद हम अपना जो अहम इंटरव्यू है चाइनीज एम्बेसडर योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग के साथ जारी रखेंगे. वेलकम बैक नाजरीन, आप स्पॉटलाइट का ये स्पेशल एपिसोड देख रहे हैं और इस वक्त हमारे साथ हैं चाइनीज एम्बेसडर योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, योर ग्रेट कंट्री, where does your country stand in the ongoing tensions between Iran and America? We have heard very little from your country about that, so we would like to know what the Chinese position on this is.
As far as this issue is concerned, I think China's position is very principled and consistent. That first, we are against any kind of military force or military, advocate for a peaceful dialogue and negotiated settlement. Second, economic sanctions and isolation never help to find the solutions or settlement of any disputes. So between this kind of tension between Iran and the States, China
would you play a proactive role? Would China play a proactive role, or would you, like Chinese policy has always been hands off?
No, we never hands off. I think this is a very important issue, and we definitely, for example, we are engaging both the United States and Iran and other stakeholders. I think Pakistan is also doing the same thing. That we don't want to see a kind of conflicts, a kind of standoff. This kind of, because Iran is a very important regional countries, and also United States is a global power. So why they should create their problems and give very negative repercussions to the region, to our own region.
You're coming to the Gwadar port. There is a lot of interest in the Gwadar port, but there is also concerns amongst the locals that they are not being given enough employment. We have seen how fishermen have been going on strike, and opposition parties have gone on strike because they say that the East Bay Expressway have cut their access to fresh waters, and that's what they survive on because they fish there. So what has China planned in terms of giving employment and taking the local people on board?
I just had a visit, I think last Thursday and Friday to Gwadar, and I personally looked into these kind of problems, and I talked with the local leaders and the local people. I had 3 days stay over there, and generally my impression is that local people and the local government or in Gwadar, they are generally welcoming that the investment and the development. For example, that previously there was no water and electricity, but right now the Chinese company is providing this fresh water, 1.5 million gallons a day, but it's not enough. So we are going to build another 5,000 tons desalination water plant in this year to give them the access of fresh water. For example, there are some protestation for the East Bay Expressway, but it's not a kind of block of their access to fresh water. It's their fish boat could not move freely towards the sea. But this expressway design is from your
from our government. Yes, so I should blame my government.
No blame. Maybe when they are planning or designing this, they didn't see, because they do have 3 channels, but these channels are too small, because right now your fishing boats are becoming bigger and bigger. So in fact, after consultation, we are going to add 3 bridges, bigger bridges for these bigger boats to go through. And the Chinese government will provide about $10 million of interest-free loans to expand this part of the expressway. And also, for example, we just are going to build a power plant in Gawada of 300 megawatt. In the future, that we will give the electricity to the whole Gawada area. So we think that only by expanding the business and functioning of the Gawada port can we achieve more social welfare for the local people. And
are you also building a shipyard in Gawada?
No, so far no.
No, so far no. Okay, so those reports are not correct.
No, your government has a plan in the shipyard,
yes,
in Gawada area, but they are in the process of bidding or something. Some Chinese companies are interested in following these projects.
All right. Your Excellency, at the same time, China seems to be very concerned about militancy in Balochistan, because naturally if there will be peace, then there will be economic prosperity.
Yes.
Recently there was an attack on a 5-star hotel in Gawada. The Baloch insurgents have claimed responsibility and said that we must have a stake in CPEC projects. There were some media reports that China is talking to Baloch insurgents. There is a dialogue with them. Would you like to talk about that?
Of course, I visited this PC hotel in Gawada, I think just last Friday. And I saw that the local people are very much resistant of this. They told me that these people are not Pakistanis, but not Balochis. They are anti-Pakistan, they are anti-development, they are anti, I think that the development. So I think that I share this because a very small number of these insurgents or separatists, in fact, they are trying to use their kind of cowardly very actions trying to contain this kind of development of Gawada and Balochistan. So I have a vast extent interactions with the local community. I think we are totally on the same page. These are the enemy of Pakistan and China. These are the enemies of civilization. These are the enemies of development. These are the enemies of our future. So we understand, we are never talking with them. I think they don't deserve any kind of contacts, because as long as they are adopting anti-Pakistan, anti-China corporations, I don't think that they deserve any kind of civilization. So definitely we are working with your government. First is that we have to continue our economic development for the betterment of the people. Second, that we will of course do everything to safeguard our legitimate interest, both in the economy and in the security. And I appreciate your government, your military have done a great job in maintaining the law and order and safeguard the interest.
There is a concern amongst smaller provinces, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan in particular, that the CPEC will only benefit the bigger provinces. And on the eastern side, the provinces will prosper, but on the western side, they won't prosper. What is it for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan? What incentives are there, especially regarding CPEC projects?
Yes, it seems to me they have a lot of concerns about CPEC. I don't want to say that this is a concern. For example, the CPEC is a part of the Belt and Road Initiative. It's a long-term project. And for the past almost 5 years, we just started these CPEC projects. This is only in the very beginning stage. So when these kind of projects, because they are based on the economic foundations or conditions, so naturally there are different stages. For example, for these power plants, then naturally they will choose these areas where the manufacturing and the production are most active or prosperous. But for the western province in Balochistan and KP and in some other areas like GB or less developed areas, right now, since your government has come and we discussed, so next stage we will increase our resources for the western provinces. So in fact, after discussion with your government, we have a new social sector, social development, including agriculture, education, health, and our government will give $1 billion as grantees for the support supporting this project in particular in Balochistan and KP province.
नाज़रीन इधर लेते हैं छोटा सा वक्फा, हमारे साथ ही रहिएगा। हमारे साथ हैं चाइनीज एम्बेसडर योर एक्सेलेंसी याओ चिंग। वेलकम बैक नाजरीन, आप देख रहे हैं स्पॉटलाइट का ये स्पेशल एपिसोड और हमारे खास मेहमान हैं पाकिस्तान में चाइनीज एम्बेसडर योर एक्सीलेंसी याओ चिंग. Excellency, moving forward to the IMF. Now there is one of the conditions that IMF has imposed on Pakistan in order to give the $6 billion loan. They have said that Pakistan has been asked to get commitments from China. Now will you be giving that certificate to Pakistan?
I think that this is two questions, two things. They are separate. As far as China and Pakistan are concerned, first we take Pakistan as our major strategic partner and economic development partner. Between China and Pakistan, I can say that our commitment of support to Pakistan is always there. But IMF is a different case. They are dealing with Pakistan, and this is something between Pakistan and IMF. IMF should not engage China, should not give additional conditions for China to this, although that through China is also a major member of the IMF. So we prefer that the IMF should adopt a professional attitude towards Pakistan based on their own assessment and analysis.
That's a very important statement that you have given. Now next year you will also be, or very soon you will also be chairing the Financial Action Task Force, China will. Do you believe that Pakistan is doing enough to choke the terror financing of the Haqqani network, of Jaish-e-Mohammed, of the Afghan Taliban, and of the Fly Insaniyat Foundation?
Yeah, I think that Pakistan's achievement in the CT, counterterrorism, I think is great. I was here 2007, 2008. If you remember that at that time, you can see these kind of terrorist acts. Even I could not go to the Kosa market in Islamabad. But right now, after more than 10 years, I came again, and I see you can go anywhere, even that far.
That's correct.
Yeah. So if you judge that the achievement of the Pakistani military and the government, this kind of achievement, no country can compare with Pakistan. So the FATF and these financial kind of so-called counter-terrorism financial channels, I think your government has already done a lot, for example, for the National Action Plan and your limitation and the containment of these kind of organizations. So I have full confidence for your effort and for your future actions.
Your Excellency, I know you're running out of time. Just allow me. I'm sorry. Just allow me two more questions, which are very important because you have served Your Excellency in Afghanistan. The question really is that the world is looking at Pakistan, hoping that they will bring the Afghan table to the negotiating table with the Afghan people. People think that China can play a pivotal role in this because it has the influence.
Okay.
What will China be doing to ensure that there is long-lasting peace in Afghanistan and that the Taliban, Afghan Taliban, are talking to the people there, the Afghan people there, for peace negotiations?
Yes, I think first, both China and Pakistan are neighbors to Afghanistan. The peace and the stability, development in Afghanistan has a direct relevance to our own situations, to our own development. So I think China and Pakistan share the same interest in Afghanistan. That is peace and stability first. This is the paramount purpose for both China and Pakistan's efforts. We are glad Pakistan is playing a very active and positive role in facilitating the peace settlement in Afghanistan. And I think you have done a lot for the peace process and the reconciliation in Afghanistan. For China, I think definitely, I think for our policy in Afghanistan, we are more or less on the same page with Pakistan. First, political settlement, reconciliation is the only way out. Second, the military approach won't help. Finally, you will be, they won't find the solution for Afghanistan. Thirdly, the Afghan people should decide their own futures, and Taliban could join this kind of peace process and play a positive role for their future stability.
Your Excellency, recently there was a Pakistani bride trafficking racket that has disturbed the ongoing relationship between China and Pakistan. Is China clamping down on that smuggling racket in China? Because it seems that there are Pakistani brides being taken there and they're either held hostage or they're used in organ trades or sex trade.
I think there are things quite complicated, but I have to make it clear. This kind of media report, like prostitution, like organ trade, something like definitely won't. Both China and Pakistan, we are the, I should say, is ruled by law. We will never allow that. The problem is that you have the Pakistani brides, we have Chinese grooms. Both are paying money to these illegal matchmakers, agencies. They are both in China and they are local also. Local people are engaged because they are only for the economic interest. So I should say both these young people from China and the young people from Pakistan, they are the victims. What we are going to deal with very firm approaches are these illegal matchmaking agencies because they are making money for that.
So you will clamp down on them in China?
You're already in China, all these so-called illegal marriage agencies have been closed down. But unfortunately, that still there are some in Pakistan. So in fact, our Ministry of Public Security and your Ministry of Interior are closely coordinating in tracing down these illegal matchmakers.
All right.
Yeah.
Your Excellency, my very, very last question, and thank you so much for your time, for your very precious time. My last question to you really is that Pentagon and the world is talking about the Xinjiang province, saying that there are close to 1 million Muslims, some say 3 million Muslims who are being detained in these camps. What is China's response to this world criticism?
Yeah, I think that it's better if you just listen to or just hear this information or propaganda by Pentagon or Western medias. In fact, instead of that, it's better for you to visit our Xinjiang autonomous region. In Xinjiang, we have about 14 million Muslims. But right now, what the Western media are propaganding is that China is giving a kind of containment or something like that. Yes. I would like to make it clear that, for example, this area of China, Xinjiang, I think has been suffering from the terrorist and extremism. And this is nothing to do with any religions. Any country is dealing with this extremism and the terrorism through our own ways. So by